So,
so I've just started the recording. Shirley, thank you so much for making the time to talk to us today. I did a post on the subject only this morning on LinkedIn, and everybody was wishing not only you well, but also Ben. This is lucky that you have a son in the game to look after you. So I'll really grateful just to understand a bit more about what happened and how it happened, because with your permission, I'd like to share this out on social media just so that we can obviously educate and protect more people.
Yeah, fine. Well, really, it started with a call with a number that I didn't recognize. It was a totally different number from anything that's on my phone. So, the message was, "Hey, Mum, this is my new number. My phone doesn't turn on anymore, so now you can text and call me on this number. Would you like to save it? Are you busy?" So, really, in hindsight, what I should have done was to call Ben's normal number just to check, but I didn't. I took it at face value. So I went into his profile on my contacts and changed the number to their number. Okay. And that was the start then of the messages that came through that you have a record of now.
Yeah, thank you.
So anyway, I mean, the issue was that, I was intrigued as to what he wanted to know, because normally he would phone. Okay, so to be using WhatsApp, and I said to him, right, I take it these messages from you, I don't want to have a long conversation because we're tired, we're just recovering from COVID, we want to go to bed, and I still wondered why he didn't phone me. Okay, and then a series of messages started to come through, and they were in single sentences, and I thought, that's a bit odd. Okay, all right. So we got to the message where he was asking for a favor, and I was beginning to get a bit anxious then. Okay, and then I said, well, don't make this a long conversation, please, or because, I need to go to bed. And he said, I'll just type on. And then the issue was, he said, I began to get very worried. In fact, worried to the point where I felt sick. Shame. So because I was worried that if he was phoning at that time, and he was being hedging a bit, that, there was something serious, something really serious. So I didn't know what to think about it. So then the message came that he got these invoices and they had to be paid by midnight. Okay. The deadline was midnight. So this was something they started referring to and then referred to again later when I said, well, I can't do this now, or there's no banking, or blah, blah, blah. And the issue was, all the time there are little niggles, and I'm thinking, well, Ben knows that we haven't got online banking. We won't do it. We refuse to do it. So we still toddle off down to the bank if we need to do a bank transfer or anything like that. So anyway, the message says, I've got these invoices that have got to be paid by midnight. Can you help me? So I said, well, we don't do online banking. How can we help? I said, we can pay your bills with a credit card. And, they came back, oh, yes, I actually have to pay it today. So, in the meantime, I'm thinking, well, how can we pay it by credit card? And we looked up the Lloyd's banking times and found that Sunday it wasn't open anyway. The next time it would be open would be Monday. So in the meantime, then James is getting worried, and we're both sitting there feeling incredibly anxious. Okay, because we knew that Ben was having his car sorted out, and we knew he couldn't manage a big bill, so we were there to help. And we said, yes, we'll help you, but how do we do this when we haven't got online banking in effect? So he said I could do it on the credit card. And I said, well, how do I do that? Because we're not computer whiz kids. I don't know how to go onto my credit card account and, you know, post a payment or whatever. So the issue was, the issue was that he sent a message with an amount of £1,400, name, account number, sort code, and description reference. Okay, so that was what I was supposed to be using. But I mean, that's all very well if you've got online banking. Yes, okay, that's fine. Because I used to do online banking at my old golf club when I was treasurer, but you know, we won't have it at home, so I didn't know what facility or how I could get that money to Ben. And then, you know, kind of these messages vacillated between, well, okay, tomorrow, but I've got a deadline of midnight. And it was just so in your face that I thought, well, you know, it was just making me so worried that Ben was in serious trouble and I couldn't help him and I didn't know how to. And he said, oh, the message said, well, just go onto your computer, go into your credit card account. Okay, never done that. so I really wasn't, you know, kind of happy about that. And I said, look, I want to call you. And and another reason was he said he couldn't call because he was in company. So I tried at least twice to phone him from the phone app, the normal phone app. And as soon as I put the number in, it dropped out. It wouldn't connect. So, you know, in WhatsApp, there's a little phone symbol at the top.
Yeah.
I thought I'd try that. So I tried that and it made a connection. There was this horrible, horrible, horrible noise. And I could just hear a voice saying, oh, I can't hear you because there's so much noise on the line. So at this point, I said, look, you know, I'm not happy about this. How do I know it's not a scam? And I want you to go home, away from company, phone me from home and tell me what you want. Okay, and that's it. It didn't, nothing else came after that. And then the issue was that I got as far as sending that message, and Jay picked up his mobile and rang Ben's proper number, which I deleted out of my my contacts profile for him. And of course it phoned straight away and Ben answered straight away from home. The relief was absolutely enormous. It was absolutely huge because, you know, as I say, we were both feeling physically sick with worry that he needed help, that he needed urgent help, that we couldn't get to him. But at the same time, you know, there were all these things going through my mind. Why is there a midnight deadline? Okay, why? It just doesn't make sense to me. It must be, you know, something of vital importance. You know, it really worried me. The single sentences worried me, where they didn't have a block of text and so on. Worried me that I couldn't get to speak to them. Okay, and it began to just play on me. So that's when I started saying, you know, I want to know that this isn't a scam. I want to talk to you. And then the relief when we did speak to him, oh my God, yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Because this was going on for about an hour. If you could think about, you know, typing all the messages in and so on and so forth, coming out, trying to phone him, coming back in, more messages. You know, it was the most horrid hour I've been through in ages. You know, so that was it really.
Wow, Shirley, well, thank you. I can't say thank you enough times for you for sharing the story, because, you know, as Ben must have told you 1,000 times, that it's our mission to educate and protect at least 1 million people from hackers and scammers like you've just encountered. So what advice would you give somebody that's listening to your story right now? What advice would you give them to pick it up maybe earlier in the process?
Well, I think the first thing I should have done was to ring Ben's actual number before I went into his profile and changed it to see if he had picked it up. In hindsight, that's all very well, but I mean, when you've got a plausible sort of message that says, hey, Mum, my phone's not working, but I'm phoning from this particular number, you know, I suppose you kind of go into trust mode. But gradually, as I say, things began to not kind of add up properly. And that's when I thought, right, okay, I'm not acting on this in any way until I get to speak to Ben. Okay, so you know, and had it actually been Ben, and had he actually said, oh, I'm home, Mum, yes, it is me, well then, you know, he could have talked me through how to do the transaction, and we would have done it, because we were, you know, we've always been there to support both of our boys. And, you know, if it was a case of, oh, I need to borrow some money for a couple of weeks, you know, I'll pay you back when blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Well, we would act on that immediately. So I didn't want to believe it wasn't him, but gradually I began to believe that it wasn't him. And that's when I started saying, well, I want to know whether this is a scam, you know. But, you know, I would say to anybody, listening that you need to go through your normal connections first and absolutely check. And don't, you know, just be aware that if you are feeling anxious about what's happening, that you don't do anything like making any payment transactions. Because, I mean, and also in a way we're lucky because we don't do online banking, because it would have been there, the tool for me to hand that money over immediately would have been there. But even so, we wouldn't have gone ahead with it until we'd spoken to him. Yeah.
I mean, if you'd lost that, what was it, £1,400?
Yeah.
Do you think would have, do you think that the banks would have given you the money back?
No, I don't think so. No, because it's my mistake for not checking. So that money would be money down the drain.
Yeah.
And, you know, and the thing is, it leaves a nasty taste in your mouth in terms of trust as to what's coming through. I mean, I've had some email scams before now asking for me to purchase, you know, £100 Amazon voucher because it's so-and-so's birthday, and this person who I know wasn't able to purchase it themselves, and so on. Now, you know, I realized that was a scam straight away, contacted the person and said, look, I think you've been hacked. But it was the fact that it wasn't any of my WhatsApp accounts. It was a totally different number.
Yeah. I mean, the engineering, it's called social engineering, was absolutely flawless. But Shirley, thank you. Yeah, I didn't want to take any more of your time. I just wanted to, I'm so glad that you were able to share the story with us, because hopefully we can put this out there and more people can learn from you. And as a small thank you for your time, I'd love to send you a book. This one here, it's the book is written by one of my all-time cyber heroes called Frank Abagnale. Do you remember that movie called Catch Me If You Can?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard.
You must watch it. Let Ben play it to you. But the same guy wrote this book, Scam Me If You Can. And I always tell people to buy this book and give it to their moms, their dads, their sisters, their uncles, their aunties, because they cover the story you've told in different ways. But it's sad because from what we see as a business is that, you know, young people get done and older people get done all the time, but older people do not have the time, if it's large amounts, to go back to work to make that money up that they've lost.
Absolutely.
And that's really sad. And that's why what Frank Abagnale's done with this book, all the all the money that is made from this book, which you can buy on Amazon, it goes back to people around the world that's been scammed, like almost like you've done. So as a small thank you, I'd like to send you one in the post.
Oh, that would be great.
So please read it, and then please ask your husband to read it as well. And then pass it on to somebody else. Please.
Right. I will do,
So,
but what I did do was I sent a WhatsApp message to a whole group of golf ladies that I play with on a Thursday. We call ourselves the Roll Up Ladies because it's not the official Ladies' Day. So they're about 16 in the group, so they know all about it, and hopefully they'll pass that on as well.
Good, because you know the thing you've just said there makes so much, you know, it's so important for me, because it's not just us as a cybersecurity company responsibility, is everybody's responsibility to educate everybody around them, you know, about these scams, because only then will it get out there, you know, and hopefully people will listen and be savvy like you were, and be able to avoid, you know, losing a lot of money, which is sad. So thank you very much for your time, Shirley, and I look forward to meeting you again, hopefully next time face to face.
Yeah, when we come to Hemel.
Yeah. Can I just